No, we're not talking about a game of baseball here, but it does work off the same analogy. It's the two strikes that business owners always miss that can be very, very crucial in the process of managing up and managing out. Let's go through it right now and make sure that you've got all the details you need to be best placed in the future. So everyone knows about the game of baseball. For me, I'm not a big fan. I think it's quite boring most of the time, to be totally honest. I do like some of the copious amounts of food and beer that gets consumed at American games, but that's a different story. Look, here's the premise. You have one guy throwing a ball, pitching a ball, and the other guy with the bat has to hit the ball over the fence. Ultimately wants to get around the bases, get a home run, score a run. Okay, so that's the overly simplified game of baseball. Here's the thing. If you swing at the ball and miss, it's classified as a strike. If you do that 3 times, you're out. Now, ultimately means that the batter has failed. The batter hasn't lived up to the hype of their mostly overinflated payments. Let's not get into that side either. But here's the thing. It's pretty much you get one strike, you get a second opportunity to have a mistake and have a problem, the third one, and you're out. It's like, see you later, back to the dugout, and away you go from there. And pretty much it's the same with team members. And specifically, when we talk about aspects of being able to have the right team in place, it's really crucial that we do have open and honest discussions about team members and employees that we need to be able to have in our business. And if we talk specifically about, say, the admin side of things, operation side of parts of the business, I find it's probably one of the least discussed and least understood areas for health business owners. And what I mean by that is that the business owner and the practitioners get very busy seeing clients and working in those aspects, but not really being completely on top of what needs to happen in the admin side of things and getting the operations flowing through and reception, etc. And so as a net result, we end up finding ourselves in a scenario where we may have people in the team that aren't best suited. Now, when we stop and talk about this, we have to sort of understand that we need to be able to train them, onboard them, and none of this podcast today is about that. We should have the right onboarding. We should have the right learning structures. We should be systemized. We should have all of those avenues in place. And I'm going to assume for the time being that they are in place. But just because they are all in place doesn't mean we might not have someone that's not really suited to our team. And just because we do this, and this does take something, somewhere along the lines of 3 to 6 months to really make those changes. When we make those changes in a business, we can quite often have someone that starts to not really feel like they're a part of the team anymore. And what I mean by that is change isn't great for everyone. And whilst change is needed and we move forward at a lot of these different angles for our business, you might find that someone starts to realize they need to move on and that all the changes and all the, maybe some of the systems and the operational behavior of the business, etc., isn't really where they want to be long term. And that's okay. You just got to understand that as we make those changes, you may have a little bit of a changing of the guard in and around admin, operations, etc., which is completely fine when you expect it and you know what to do and how to do it. Secondly, the big part of this whole podcast is around the fact of it's the 2 strikes that most health business owners miss. And what I mean by that is that if you've got someone in the admin side, maybe not the necessarily just admin, I'm just using that because that's the easy example to utilize to get my point across, is if someone's not doing their job, they're not fulfilling their tasks or they're making a lot of mistakes, they might be a little bit lazy, they're saying one thing and doing another, they're not following systems. There's obviously a lot that we need to do and put into place, and there's a lot of extra training, mentoring that we need to have in place. There's accountability measures that should be in place. We should be able to put that to build them and grow them. But the 2 things that most people miss, and it's a whole catalyst, first of all, It's the confidence and faith that the rest of the admin and operations and reception team have in that person. Now, what I mean by that is you can work on everything you possibly can think of. You can train, you can make things overly systemized and structured, but ultimately at the end of the day, if their direct team members and colleagues don't have confidence in their ability and don't feel that what they say is what they do, and they don't feel that they are the rock star that they might think they are, then that is the second strike that's often overlooked and not seen by the business owner. And as business owners, we tend to, dive in, dive out. We take that helicopter view in these situations. We drop in, help out, fix problems, do all those things, and we jump in the helicopter and go to the next problem and drop in, drop out type scenario. And so the challenge is we never really get a solid understanding of what the feel is from our team members in and around that person. Because we need to have that open and honest discussion. And that's the second strike that most of the time, in fact, I'm going to go as far as saying all the time, by the time you as the business owner are thinking that someone's not the right fit, or they're not going to quite go perfectly for where we're going, and there's a lot of these challenges, and I want to start to maybe, either manage them up or manage them out, we've already had or should have had discussions with the other team around them in regards to how they feel that it is working with alongside this person. And I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I don't want to sound rude here. I don't want to sound, arrogant, or it's just like, one strike and you're out. It's not like that. And there's so many different avenues we can explore and should explore to be able to help out. But the fact of the matter is when it gets to that point where we know that someone isn't the right fit, the two mistakes that are ultimately the two strikes that the business owner misses, first of all, is that one that I was just discussing about what the other reception, admin, etc. feel about them. But the other big one is the third strike, is what does your team, the practitioner side of things, the therapist side, what do they feel about the person? Have they got confidence that it's the right person? Have they lost confidence in that person's ability to do the job? And this becomes really crucial because we had a client of ours earlier today. They run a big business with more than 32 therapists, and then there's all the admin team. They're across 2 different sites, allied health team, big team, right? And it got to the point where one of the admin, and we're in a situation, delicate situation that we're managing at the moment, has completely lost faith in this person. So whilst the lady's lovely and she's fantastic in so many different angles, there's a lot of challenges starting to build up. And rather than the business owner starting to look at this situation and realizing that we need to help this person move on because we've spent many, many months trying to build this person up and do everything that needs to happen, we've got to start to, facilitate the moving on, moving out process. We have to identify the second strike and the third strike there. And the second strike that the business owner had to be able to do over the last few days that we've been facilitating is to get a bit of a snapshot as to what other team members around the admin, operations, reception team actually feel, and what we started to see very, very quickly is the fact that they had lost confidence in that person delivering on what they needed to. They had lost confidence in getting the result that they were looking for. They lost confidence that things were getting done. They constantly felt let down, that they couldn't trust that this was always going to be delivered and completed as they needed as part of the team. So that becomes the thing that ultimately can make and break so many more other problems that compound over time. So then we went to the third situation. This was the third strike that this business owner had missed, and that is getting feedback and understanding from the actual therapists themselves. Like I said, more than 30 therapists, 32, 33 therapists. So we need to have a really good close understanding. And what we also found out there, that multiple therapists that we spoke to have literally lost confidence. They will actually jump on the phone and from one clinic and ring the other clinic to get some stuff done or talk to the admin team, and they'll start conversations with phrases like, "Oh, I'm glad I got you and not such and such a person." And so when you start to have team members not wanting to communicate or hoping that they can only need to deal with certain team members in, say, admin and the operational side of things, that becomes the third strike that we need to ask questions about and look for to know whether this person is or isn't the right fit for our business moving forward. So again, this podcast right now is all about, are you in that situation? Have you been in that situation? And if you are in the future, stop and think about the second and third strikes. It's not just the first one around, they've swung and missed in regards to they're not doing their job, they're not following their job description, they're missing out on tasks, they're a bit lazy and, etc. It's actually most important that we actually have an understanding of the second and third, challenges, the strikes as such in the game of baseball. It's what is the feeling in and around, let's say, the admin team, and what's the feeling in and around the practitioners? Because having an understanding of that is probably even more crucial than you as the business owner formulating your ideas and thoughts. Before you try and manage up, before you try and manage out, before you take any further steps in that challenging situation that the business owner faces, you need to know what the rest of the team are feeling, where they lie, and what's going to be best for them moving forward. That's the most crucial thing for you. So let's make sure that we get that second and third strike out of the way, and we're fully equipped with all the information that we need so that you can hit the home run in the direction that you need to from here. All right, let's get our three ducks lined up, the three strikes ready to go, so that we know those three key components, first of all, before we formulate the thoughts in our own head about what's best. We need to know what it's like for the team, because ultimately the compounding effect there can be detrimentally horrible to you and the business moving forward. So let's make sure that we get the second and third strikes in place, fully equipped with that knowledge and understanding before we take the next steps in any of those challenging times ahead for you and that team member. Hope that makes sense. Give me a yell and let me help out if I can help out further in regards to this topic, because it is a pretty challenging one. But just make sure as a business owner that we get the second and third strikes in place as we discussed, so that you're best equipped to make the right decisions for your business moving forward from here. I'll talk to you again very soon. Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.